Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. As you can tell by the title, today I'm going to be responding to unpopular K-pop opinions on Reddit. So, the way that this is going to work is that I'm going to put a screenshot of the opinion on the screen and I'll say whether or not I agree with it, and then give my reasonings as to why. I solely made this video for fun and it shouldn't be taken that seriously, so if I share an opinion that you don't agree with, then that's completely fine. All that I would ask is that you would be respectful with your disagreement. So, without further ado, let's get started. The first opinion is, Itsy actually has a very clear concept, and I agree with this opinion. One of the main reasons why Itsy has been garnering so much criticism is because people feel like they don't have a clear sound, but I completely disagree with that. Over the course of their career, Itsy has experimented with different concepts, and none of their title tracks sound the same. And I think because of that, people are misunderstanding that as them not having a clear concept and sound. You can literally make a playlist solely consisting of all of Itzy's title tracks. Have a local, someone who doesn't listen to K-pop at all, listen to this playlist, and I feel like they would still be able to determine that all of these songs are by the same artist. Why? Because Itsy actually has a distinctive sound. And like this Redditor said, Itzy's concept has always been about self-confidence, and they've always been consistent with that throughout all of their releases. I talked about this a little bit in my July comeback review, but a part of the reason why Itsy gets so much flack is because of the fact that they're Itsy. And what I mean by that is that Itsy isn't the only K-pop group that has a distinctive identity to their music and has dabbled in different concepts. Even with title tracks like Mafia in the Morning, Cheshire, and Sneakers, their three most controversial title tracks, the consensus has always been the same. What has stayed consistent throughout all of these eras? Itzy's message of self-confidence. Mind you, I'm not saying something that's revolutionary by any means, because you could easily look up the English translation of all of their title tracks, and you would be able to come to the same conclusion that I did. And imagine me saying that with air quotes, because that's not really even it. Because if we're being 100% for real, it's always been about the hate boner that K-pop stans have for Itsy. Because if you were solely looking at things objectively, you would be able to figure this out as well. One last thing before I end this section. Obviously, this doesn't apply to the people who just don't like Itzy's title tracks anymore. And if you don't like their music anymore, that's completely fine. I'm not saying that you have to like their music. This is mainly towards the people who are attacking Itzy's identity as a whole. Because when it comes to that, they've never had a solid point to stand on. The second opinion is, fans have rights to meddle with idols' personal lives to an extent. And because of the fact that I'm not clinically insane, I obviously disagree with this point. So essentially, this person's point is because of the fact that idols are marketed as perfect human beings, fans have the right to a certain degree to criticize an idol when they feel like that idol isn't acting accordingly. They also said that fans have the right to feel upset when an idol starts dating, and they have the right to comment on an idol's change in appearance for that exact reason. This Redditor then claims that they aren't saying that this is a I give you money so I own you situation, but fans give idols love as well as money, so they have the right to meddle with idols' personal lives to some extent. But it only becomes a problem, it only becomes too far when a fan physically or emotionally harms an idol. So now that I've given a summary of this person's entire argument, let's attack the argument. Sure, idols are usually marketed as perfect people that could possibly be one's friend or romantic partner, but acknowledging this doesn't make this argument valid in any way, shape, or form. Idols are entertainers. It's their job to entertain you, but outside of that, what they do in their personal life has nothing to do with you, nor is it any of your business. Just because a fan may invest their time, their energy, or even invest money into an idol or a group, that doesn't mean that the idol or group owes them anything in return. I'm not saying that idols shouldn't be grateful for their fans and they should just treat their fans like crap or anything, but other than that appreciation, an idol doesn't owe you anything else. I also want to add that idols do owe all of their fans basic human respect. And what I mean by that is not disrespecting other cultures and other groups of people. I just wanted to mention that just so that there's no confusion about what I'm trying to say here. So to all the coons and the dick riders, I'm not trying to make that argument. But like I was saying, other than appreciation and basic human respect, an idol doesn't owe you anything else. That's like being a fan of a certain manga and then expecting for the author of that manga to write the story in the exact way that you want it to be written, and then making the argument that because of the fact that you bought the manga or you bought merch, putting money in the author's pocket, that because of that, the author shouldn't write the rest of the story based off of their own artistic viewpoint, but off of yours instead. And I do realize that this isn't an equal equivalent because of the fact that you can enjoy a piece of media and still be critical of certain decisions that were made in the story of that media. And when it comes to human lives, expecting someone to live their life in the way that you want them to is just indisputably bad. But this is simply just an analogy to better send my point home. Ultimately, in both of these instances, it's just the fan being incredibly entitled and thinking, because of the fact that they're investing in something, that their investment must act accordingly to do what they want at all times, which is, like I said earlier, absolutely insane. The third opinion is 50-50 are the only ones to blame for their careers ending. I want to start this off by saying this section is going to be shorter than the first two because I don't want to speculate on the situation too much, because at the end of the day, none of us really know what's going on. But based off of all of the information and everything that's been revealed, I'm going to disagree with this opinion. At first, I was planning on just staying neutral and not taking a side because, like I said earlier, I wasn't there and I don't know what happened. But after hearing 50-50 finally speak out and hearing them talk about how they've had panic attacks, frequent BMI checks, how they had CTV footage watching them, and ultimately them saying that they would rather quit music entirely than to go back to that company, for me, that's all that I needed to hear. And outside of that, considering all of the many cases of K-pop companies treating their groups like literal shit, it's just crazy to me that people are willing to immediately take the CEO's side just because of the fact that he claimed that he had to give up a lot in order for 50-50 to debut. Which, now that I'm thinking about it, it just makes the situation more crazy because back then, there were a lot of people that didn't even believe that story and thought that he was just lying in order to give 50-50 a false come-up story. So it's kind of funny how the tides have changed in that aspect. But anyways, I feel like for the people who are on the CEO's side, because of the fact that 50-50 are rookies and they aren't a household name, they felt like 50-50 should have just accepted the mistreatment. And when they became big enough, then and only then should they have been allowed to speak up against the mistreatment. And obviously that isn't the end all be all, because even if they do become a household name, people would still probably call them ungrateful regardless. But ultimately, I think a lot of these people genuinely believe that 50-50 don't have the right to advocate for better treatment. And I feel like the situation has just exposed a lot of the lack of empathy that people have for idols and how easily people can be swayed by media manipulation. If you're still here, then that means that you made it to the end of the video, so thank you for that. I've decided to only do 3 opinions because I didn't want this video to be too long, and I also wasn't expecting to have so much to say about those 3 opinions. I just thought that it'd be like a minute long for each opinion and then I'd be able to do a lot. Turns out that obviously wasn't the case. I did enjoy making this video, so I might do a part 2 in the future, so stay tuned for that. Also, I'm actually really interested to hear y'all's thoughts on this, so let me know what you guys thought of these opinions. Did you agree? Did you disagree? Whatever the case may be, just let me know in the comments. Anyways, that's all that I have for y'all, and I'll see y'all later.